Hello my friends and welcome. This is the latest update on Ukraine. It seems like Ukraine has the potential for assaults or attacks. Today our guys took more ground near to Sumy. It's the very important direction. It goes straight to Horlivka. There's the Horlivka on the right, and here if we go to the 3D map, Ukraine was able to fully capture the nearby hill and plus some of the area, yet we don't have the latest update of the 3D map. We understand that our guys propelled forward. It's been confirmed not just by the deep state military map source, but also by the video information. Ukraine even put the flag on top of this hill. The Ukrainian army went there during the night time, and our guys were able to capture some of the Russian soldiers, imprisoning them. And here is the video from the drone. So this hill was taken by Ukraine, and there is the Ukrainian flag over there, and not far away there were some of the Russian positions. This hill is kind of important because it's the highest place in the area, so Ukraine took this part and also this part under control, so our soldiers would be able to spot of what is happening in Horlivka, at least in this frontal area, without any drones if the weather is good. I'm really surprised that Ukraine has this potential in getting more ground even in current conditions. Then Russia tries to get initiative advancing from many of the directions. And this is one more confirmation about the Ukrainian advancement and achievement for today. So Ukraine has two of the assault vectors. One was very successful, and Ukraine performs surveillance over this territory, actually over Horlivka, but Russia performs surveillance as well. So today they spotted the Ukrainian flag on the hill. Alright, now let's go to Avdiivka, where there is the heavy fight between Ukraine and Russia. Today, Russia unfortunately got more ground over here in the industrial area. Before, Ukrainian army was forced to retreat the forces from this place towards the residential area. But our army continued to strike the Russian positions over here using FPV drones and artillery. But today Russia moved a little in the front, so it was yesterday and it is today. It's been confirmed that they've took the last street over here. From what I understood, Ukraine doesn't have the robust defense lines, but we have the natural obstacle, the river, that will stop the Russian advancement in the future. So after all, I expect the Russian advancement towards that river, at least maybe in a couple of months, maybe in 1 month, depends on what resources Russia wants to use in this particular direction. But on the north, everything plays in favor of Ukraine. Our guys took some of the ground from the Russian army and keep the positions. Russian army is very robust over here. They have many of the reinforcements. That's why Ukraine is still unable to go behind this railway. Russia still tries to go on their attacks in Kupiansk, and sometimes they take the ground, but today Ukraine was able to push them back with a small counterattack. So it was yesterday and it is today. It is always nice to see the blue color on the front lines. So 2 spots of the successful counteroffensive of Ukrainian army for the single day. I think it's the great result because mostly now we see how Russia takes the ground. For example, yesterday I showed you that Russia moved ahead towards Bogdanivka, Hromove and Ivanivska in 3 of the directions. Today there is no such a movement. President Zelensky right now is on the meeting with President Biden. As it was promised by the White House, Ukraine will obtain $200 million military support soon. I expect next week. But still it's the part of the budget 2023, and the United States of America is running out of the funds to support Ukraine longer. For that we need a new deal from the United States Senate. Today, by the way, President Zelensky went to speak with some of the senators and with the Speaker of the House of the Representatives, Johnson. They agreed that they should stop Putin, and I do expect that finally there will be the deal between Republicans and Democrats to support Ukraine in a military way. during all of the next year. Now we have the problem, but it's not that severe as it could be. But unfortunately, because of this small window before Christmas and other stuff, because there will be the holidays for Senate as well, I think that the Senate will not vote for the new deal for Ukraine this year. They will vote for it in January. Sadly, yes, but there is nothing we can do because technically it's almost impossible to vote it just right now. And still there is no final conclusion between Democrats and Republicans about the immigration law of the United States. I've read that the White House administration plus Democrats agreed on some of the proposals from the Republican Party, but still it's hard to negotiate. Nevertheless, I'm sure that it will be negotiated. There is the article of the New York Times based on some of the leaked information to their media source, saying that United States is proposing Ukraine the defense strategy for all of the next year. Also, the recommendation is to increase the development and production of the artillery shells and other munition in the factories located in Ukraine itself. Well, it is quite logical because we are simply out of the big resource to continue the big counteroffensive operations. Yes, here and there, as I showed you before, Ukraine is still capable to get some ground under control, but those are the small tactical achievements. If we speak about the strategic point of view, Ukraine is basically out of the tools even to cut the main Kerch connection, not saying about the advancement of main group of the Ukrainian forces, for example, to Crimea. Unfortunately, it is like that for now, but time goes, and in the future I believe that Ukraine potentially may get many more resources to continue the fight, even with offensive operations. Hungary again blackmails the European Union about Ukraine. They say that they will unblock the military help for Ukraine in case they're gonna receive 30 billion euros that are now blocked in the European budget for Hungary, because Hungarian institutions are not working according to the democratic principles. The Hungarian government doesn't care about Ukraine or Ukrainians who suffer because of lack in munition, because of lack of the support which European Union may send to Ukraine right now. They just want the piece of the pie, the huge sum of money, 30 billion euros. What can I say? I'm not really surprised about the Hungarian government. Finland decided not to release Jan Petrovsky, the leader of the Russian neo-Nazi military group. They've conducted the war crimes in Ukraine. The High Court proposed to release this guy back to Russia, but finally border control insists this guy to be imprisoned in Finland for some time. For how long, I'm not sure. For the last 10 days, there were 15 of the serious incidents recorded by the aviation authorities in Russia. The common problems occur with aircraft engines, flight control systems, avionics, and hydraulic systems of the airplanes, the components which require the regular maintenance, and many of the spare parts. Russia is now in lack of the spare parts, however they still obtain the small amount from the third countries. Because of this great number of the aviation incidents, there is the huge disruption in the internal aviation connection in Russia. And that touches Russia a lot. First of all, it's unsafe for passengers and for cargo. The second reason that Russia loses connections between its regions. In some cities of Russia, the aviation transport is the crucial one. There is no railroad, no regular road, at least for the winter time. So aviation plays a great role for the Russian economy. You may say that the delivery of the Chinese-made airplanes might solve this issue, but Chinese airplanes also use the Western components and the spare parts, so it's again a huge issue for the Russian Federation. There was the huge hacker attack on mobile network in Ukraine. The biggest mobile operator, Kyivstar, failed to operate, and still they're unable to fix this issue because the main servers were hacked, and I think crucial information was just deleted from those. There was also the response attack on the Russian tax service. They also lost their main servers, and all of the data was deleted but previously downloaded to unknown direction. According to the CNN article and Politica, and they have their sources somewhere in the United States intelligence, well, they say that Russia lost 13,000 of the soldiers since they started the attempt to encircle Avdiivka city. Just in Avdiivka, tremendous losses. Plus they lost 220 armored vehicles. I think it's not the full number. I think it's very close to 300 vehicles. Well, at least according to the independent sources, it is like that. And they analyzed videos and photos taken from the front line. So I believe in that number. This one is still okay, but far from reality. What is also important here that the National Security Council spokesperson said that President Vladimir Putin still aims to conquer Ukraine. So exactly the same information that I gave you yesterday. Russia doesn't want to stop. We received this message from many of the Russian sources, from many of their politicians, intelligence and other elite. They want continue this war in Ukraine. They want to take more ground, not just in Donbass, but they already say they want Odessa, Kharkiv, and establish the puppet government to control Ukraine and further use Ukraine as they use Belarus right now. We are not okay with this scenario, so that is why Zelensky says that there should be no any negotiations with Russia at this point. I think at the point then Putin still has the power, there will be no any talks and war will just continue. Yes, for now front lines are more or less standstill, but in the future I believe that Ukraine will finally go on offensive operation, taking more ground from the Russian side. However, I would agree that this war might be stopped after Putin loses his power. It seems like Yemeni Houthis struck one more commercial ship in the Red Sea. The ship name is Strinda. It is under Norwegian flag and it is tanker. The ship was targeted by missile. Luckily, crew survived and was evacuated on the United States destroyer ship nearby. I think that something should be done with those Houthis because they act as the pirates in the Red Sea. And just a brief update on the Gaza Strip, you can see all of these territories being controlled by the IDF, and they have the other vector towards this place and already encircled the Jarrah settlement over here and continue south towards the other places. Numerous of the vectors. Officially, Israel lost more than 100 men, a little bit more than that, so losses are insignificant compared to their enemy losses. I actually expected that Israel might have lost more than 1,000 soldiers in the first months, but they are not in the rush, they just continue to do their job over there very successfully. My friends, don't forget to press the like to this video, and also if you want to support my channel, you may check out some of the links in the video description just below. Thank you so much for your awesome support. My friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.